I broke my collarbone, had a lot of downtime. I actually started trading in 2016, which is when I was 16 years old. Pretty well, about 30K for 2 years in a row before I would go and kind of work my day job for pressure washing. I tell my business partner, just give me some time to try it, full time. That was 6 months in.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, 300,000 plus. We're closing in on $2 million in gross profits. That was key for me, for sure. And she just always believed in me and I believed in myself. And it's just like my entire life has changed.
Ladies and gentlemen, traders, welcome back to another episode of the Relentless Trading Podcast. Today we have a very special guest. He has made over $1 million in verified profits. He is the beast from the East, coming straight out of Huntsville, Alabama. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Trading with Tim to the stage.
What's up, RT?
Tim, how you doing today, man?
As always, good, man. Good. Pleasure to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So Tim is one of the Team House members, former mentor as well, still around in the MMU community, MMU chat room, and we will be doing an interview with him today. The hope and the goal is here, the aim is to go through his backstory, let him share a little bit about himself, his progression, how he's gotten to this point, some of his hardship, so that you guys watching on can be inspired, motivated, and continue to push through the grind because we understand how difficult trading is. So, Tim, tell the people a little bit about yourself, a little bit of background information, just some general stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I'm just about to turn 25. I actually started trading in 2016, which is when I was 16 years old. And it's crazy being here now is like my 7th year trading, but it was a long road, you know what I mean? So starting out just on YouTube, shout out as always, Tim Sykes. My name's Tim as well. So, we each had our $1 million injury. For me, it was my collarbone. I broke my collarbone, had a lot of downtime, and I found videos online about trading. I had already done businesses myself, affiliate marketing. Many of you probably already know that one. Pressure washing, some of you probably know, as well as Amazon FBA is something I did as well. So, our entrepreneurial spirit definitely was already there before trading came into play, but then we find trading. And for me, I was like, okay, this is crazy. I can make hundreds a day is really just the goal at the start. And, it took me until 2022, or actually 2021 was my first profitable year. Before that, lots of struggles, learning everything I could on YouTube. There wasn't a whole lot of guys like my guy here, Mighty Stocks, posting like live archives, right? That wasn't really a thing back in the day. You just kind of had, guys that would talk about the stock and kind of their process, but not exactly live trading. So it was tough. It definitely was. And I scoured the internet trying to find anybody else. I stumbled upon Warrior Trading, as most of you probably know me from in the beginning. And that's where I learned a lot of the basics of my trading. From there, I was able to trade pre-market pretty well, about 30K for 2 years in a row. Base hits before I would go and kind of work my day job for pressure washing.
Yeah.
Saving up money and just kind of really trying to push it, but I feel like I didn't really, just a couple of trades a day. I wasn't really finding that true second, I call it turning the second corner. I couldn't really turn that second corner, but I go there, meet with Ross, shout out Ross, and Mighty Stocks is who I meet there. And at the time, I didn't even know about Relentless Trading. So I joined the Relentless Trading chat room and I start seeing, a whole different side of trading where people are taking many, many more trades a day. 50, 100, 200, sometimes 500 trades in a day or more, depending on how hot the day was. And I was used to leaving at a daily goal.
Yeah.
A couple $100 a day, which, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. But, there are guys and seeing guys make that much is kind of what really opens your eyes to even the thought of doing it yourself. So I get in there and thankfully enough, Marcelo, as well as my guy RT here, they let me come in on the first Team House trip. Not their first one, but the first one for me in San Diego.
Yeah.
And that's where I was really able to change my strategy a little bit. I was at, just pre-market and I didn't even have the ability to trade throughout the market open. So even being there for a week gave me that ability to trade throughout the whole day, which was massive. It was
crazy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I saw what they were doing. I was like, at first I was like, how is this possible? It really was mind blowing. But nowadays it's almost so normal. And it's the way that almost my personality. I'm very fast paced. I used to play a lot of first person shooters, very, very high intensity type of stuff. And that's what we do with momentum, high, micro scalping, as you want to, whatever you want to call it. Just very fast paced trading. trading, as much as we can, scalping as much as we can out of whatever move, right?
Like maniacs. It's absolutely, and what's crazy is that a lot of people might not know this, but when we were doing our team house for 4th of July, San Diego, California, we were looking to invite one extra person. We felt like, hey, this group could be a little bit bigger. And, Marcelo came to me like, hey, I met this really cool guy back at Warrior. His name is Tim. And I'm like, man, I don't know, because, I'm here building my own community. Do I want people from Warrior? Ross, these guys are cool, but we might want to do our own thing. And so Marcelo vouched for him. I'm like, you know what, man? Do it. Pull the trigger, invite this guy, and here we are, good friends. I mean, it's insane how these small decisions can make a huge change. And Tim is one of those guys came around, as he's mentioned so far, slowly but surely, but started to build. And now he's one of the guys that I'm even looking at and looking up to with the monster gains. Just today alone, $10,000 in gains, right? So, you mentioned a couple of things that I thought was interesting in your opening statement there. Two things I want to focus on. You mentioned you broke your collarbone, and that was sort of your $1 million injury. So how did you end up deciding to look up day trading? Like, what was the reason for you to say, hey, day trading is the thing I want to do now that my collarbone is broken?
Yeah, okay. So I know this has happened to other people too. So I was already on YouTube, right? So like I said, I had a lot of downtime. I couldn't really do much, right? I'm just healing up from, my basically not being able to move my arm at all. And the algorithm, I guess, from like what I was talking about, the other business ideas and things that I had started that I had already looked up on YouTube, affiliate marketing, those things, the algorithm, kind of like Mighty Stock says something very similar. It just brought him to day trading. And that was just like, I guess, whatever, the algorithm thought I wanted. And thankfully it did, right? The YouTube gods. So shout out YouTube. I wouldn't have even known about day trading or saw the potential of it. And then as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, I don't care really how long this takes. And the beauty of it was that you can do it from anywhere, and it's just a couple hours a day. So I was like, okay, worst case, I could do this alongside another job as well until it then becomes the majority of my income, which is exactly how it happened, right? Okay. Like I was saying, I make $30K those first 2 years, and then I switch brokers over to TD Ameritrade. I start actively trading throughout, because I had my PR day when I met this guy and the rest of the trading team house, which was about $5,000. At the time, my biggest day before that was about $1,200. I get to $5,000 in one day, and I tell my business partner, shout out Garrett, he's back there probably watching. I tell him, hey man, dude, I really gotta just try this, full time. Just give me some time to try it. And that month I make $50,000 just with the same strategy.
Insane.
Really,
man.
just doing a lot of the same trades, but how the market was during that time, thankfully, was pretty hot as well. And there were so many opportunities throughout the entire day that I could just capitalize on. And it snowballed into, I think before I met them, I had $15K in profits on the year. That was 6 months in.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, 300,000 plus, 2024, 1 million plus verified on Kinvo. And now we're closing in on $2 million in gross profits. And it's just like my entire life has changed. So
it's absolutely incredible.
It really is. It really is incredible.
So talk to me a little bit about this, because you mentioned your business partner, Gary. Talk to me a little bit about how you were able to save up that $30K while grinding it out.
Yeah, so I started out like a lot of people on F1 Trade, CMEG. I tried that route, and with commissions and stuff, I didn't really feel like I could do it. I looked at my stats. Without commissions, I could make money. So in 2020, when free commissions came out, thankfully by that time, I had already saved up money through pressure washing. I mean, we started that business with just $500 each.
Oh, wow.
Doing jobs from our family members and stuff to start out, which definitely helped. And then just doing, everything from door hangers to, putting flyers in mailboxes, which don't recommend that. That's actually illegal to do. We found that out the hard way. And, that kind of thing where we were just hustling. Same thing as like when you're trying to become a profitable trader, doing everything you can to make it. And then next thing you know, we started making good money. I was able to get over PDT. Also, thankfully, my family, my mom, shout out my mom, helped me a little bit. She had some money throughout the years that she had saved up, about 10,000 actually. So I had 17,000 of my own money. She then gave me the rest to get over PDT, and I just traded with my personal money. Next thing you know, 3 months in, I'm paying her back all of that, and then trading with just profits. So
that's good,
yeah,
man.
it was great for sure.
It's interesting because in there you mentioned something very funny, which also happened to me, which is to not put up signs on mailboxes, because
Yeah.
I had a buddy of mine who was into real estate, and I went around helping him put up all these signs thinking it was just a normal thing. And
Right.
apparently he had a call from someone, like a government figure, saying like, hey, like it's illegal. They call it like bandit signs or something like that.
Exactly.
So if you're watching this, you're a younger person looking to
Yeah.
start a business, do not put up signs randomly or run ads. Find a way to run ads on social media or something.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that your mom gave you 10,000. I mean, this is pretty
Yeah.
interesting because
Yeah, absolutely.
most people, their parents are usually afraid of them trading or afraid of them getting into the market. So
Yeah.
how was it like for you when it comes to like just school, career choices, and then, you know, just saying, hey, you know what, trading is it? And also your mom being so okay with just believing in that, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely got to shout out my mom a lot. I wouldn't be here without her. And I think for me, I mean, thankfully I was a straight A student through high school and college. I graduated with a 4.0 as well. Or it's actually a 3.9, something close enough, right?
Yeah.
So I was always dialed in on anything outside of trading. So she knew I wasn't like, you know, messing around and stuff. And like in my free time, that was, as soon as I found trading, I didn't even play any video games anymore. It was just like, that's my video game, right? And that was just kind of like the thing I did in my free time. You know, summers, even in high school and stuff, when people were, you know, sleeping in, I would be up watching the markets, you know, even though I wasn't making anything. It's kind of that same thing. So she saw that throughout the years, and she just kind of was like, okay, always believed in me. So for sure, that's key. I know some people don't have that support system, and that was key for me, for sure. And you know, she just always believed in me, and I believed in myself too. And thankfully, like once I got over P, I did it the right way. Super small size, never went. Not even one day did I go super aggressive, like crazy size and blow a lot of money. It was just base it. Every week or 2 weeks that I had actually green, like net profit and felt comfortable, I would size up just 100 shares or an extra 200 shares. I know some of these guys sized up a lot quicker, but for me, it was a very controlled process. And even today, it's still very controlled, trying to push as always, which is something I'm working on, but you know, it's a blessing.
So what's one of your favorite parts about being a trader?
That's a great question. I would say the freedom, you know, like today we traded a little bit longer, but the two prior days we were here, the market was slow. Large caps were moving a lot. And for us, we don't really trade large caps a lot. We're kind of getting into that realm a little bit, but we were done with inside of 1 hour. And maybe I didn't make money that day, but overall, I do. So that's still part of the job. 1 hour in, okay, the day's over.
Yeah.
We go play pickleball outside. We're in the pool. I'm getting some laps in. I'm in the hot tub. Then we go have a nice lunch, walk around downtown, just like really being able to experience life. Because when you have a 9 to 5, and I know a lot of you out there, you know, just getting ready for work, maybe your commute to work. Thankfully, we don't have to commute to work. That's huge as well. That costs people a lot of time. To where we just have more time for the gym and to work on our health, wealth, mental, you know, and that's the real beauty of it for me. I can travel out here with the team really on a dime. I mean, there's nothing really holding me back. Yeah, I have a dog at home, but other than that, right now with no kids and stuff, it's the time that we need to be networking as much as we can, because I wouldn't be here without the networking that I did and putting myself out there, you know, getting the interview from Ross and then meeting Mighty when I went to Boston with Ross, meeting RT through Mighty, and then meeting Crispy and, you know, a lot of these other guys, MX Day Trading, Calamity. And, you know, I look up to all these guys, and now we're all helping each other grow.
Yeah,
so.
It's crazy because we actually just met a gentleman named Max, and
Shout out
this guy,
Max.
we're here in Phoenix, Arizona. He pulled up here in a McLaren. I mean, absolute beast of a trader, up $500,000 today, right?
It's,
absolute
you know,
insanity. So
it's like the levels, right? And that's what's so nice about networking and knowing other people and seeing them, right? Because, man, he's just a normal guy, super nice, super down to earth. And he's just kind of figured it out to another level. He's been working on his size, like he said, for the last year, kind of like we are now. So it's just a matter of time before we're pushing size like some of those guys out there.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys, you know, started off around the same time as us, so it's really encouraging and inspiring to hear and see.
And around our same age too, a lot of young guys in this game. So very, very cool to see.
So how do you enjoy your gains? Has there been any sort of special purchase or big purchase that you've made recently?
Sure. To be honest, it's still tough for me to spend a lot of money. Like I still act broke mentally. You know, I bought like a A lot of you probably know me for my Tesla position, maybe. I have a Tesla myself. I use it for full self-driving, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the one thing I've bought. I also got my mom a car, so she also drives. After I got my Tesla, she fell in love with it, and she drove it a couple of times and rode with me, and we kind of took a trip with it. And next thing you know, I bought her a Model Y. She's got it, and she loves it. And it's like one of those things that was super nice to be able to pay her back for all the stuff that she did for me over the years. And even that Model Y, one of these years, I'm gonna upgrade her again to something even crazier. So I think that's kind of fun as well. Spending money on other people, not just myself. But for the most part, I just invest my money. That's what I bought. I'm thinking about maybe getting a more expensive car like some of these guys with their supercars. But I don't know, right now just investing and making as much as possible. So building that long-term wealth.
Yeah. So on the topic of money, right? And there's a lot of people here aspiring to become millionaires. How do you go about having that discussion with family members, people who may come to you and perhaps ask for money and see a recap from you and, hey, Tim, I saw you make this amount, like, can I borrow this? How do you go about handling money?
Thankfully, I really haven't gotten into many situations where I've been asked for money. I have had a lot of people ask me to invest their money. And it's just one of those things where not a lot of people exactly know what we do on a day-to-day basis. So they may think that we can kind of just put infinite amount of capital into what we're doing and still scale it to how we have now. Sadly, that's not the case. I would love to be able to make money for friends and family on that type of basis, but it's just not possible. So yeah, for the most part, I try to give people advice, and I'm like, I'd love to help you trade and stuff like that, because I think that makes me a better trader, teaching people how to trade. So I do that for a couple people I know back home. And but other than that, to be honest, that's maybe kind of the reason why I'm a little bit not as on social media and stuff, just because sometimes there can be a little bit of hatred and jealousy. But for the most part, I'm very blessed with a friend group and, family and whatnot that don't really have any of that type of like jealousy or anything. So I haven't had to experience it. So definitely lucky on that.
Okay. And so earlier in your career, a lot of people love to ask me this question. Did you have an aha moment?
Actually, I did. And this wasn't early on, but it was on the team house trip in San Diego. For me, I had always used limit orders trading pre-market. I didn't really know the difference between limit order and a market order, and kind of just how quick you can get in and out with market orders, and just kind of, I don't know, for me, it would open me up to actually being able to manage my risk to a whole different level. So when I was on that trip, I switched over to market orders, as well as kind of doing a lot of what I had already done, but also picking up on some things from the team house members. That's what's so beautiful about having that network of traders. And next thing you know, I was keeping my risk super tight and still able to get those winners like I already had pre-market, but there was just a lot more of them, right? Those setups repeated a lot more often. And yeah, from then on, Marcelo says this to me a lot. Literally after my PR day, it was a Friday, last day of trading on the team house trip. I made 5K like I was saying. We're going to play pickleball, and I'm just staring out the window just like, what is life? I just made what I make in a month in a couple hours, and now we're going to play pickleball. The market's not even closed yet, and we're enjoying the day. And that's the beauty of trading. Once you get through all the learning curves and stuff, it's a job like no other, for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, man, how it does take time to learn, but once you get to the other side and you start to scale, how everything then becomes condensed. I always find that to be, pretty crazy. So coming into the next question, I know that for you end, I believe, every 8 to 9, or almost 9 out of every 10 days, you end green. So for every 10 trading days, 9 of those days you're green. Can you give the audience any advice, any tips on how you're able to stay so consistent?
Sure. So yeah, after I figured that out and kind of really how to keep my risk management tight, it's been about 85% winning days from then on till now. And that just comes down to knowing, thankfully at that point I already did have a lot of trading days under my belt, right? A lot of screen time, knowing days that were better, that like days that if I pushed it, I lost money, and then the days that when I pushed it, I made more money, right? So there are certain days where you just don't connect on a stock.
Yeah.
It almost feels like everything's like against you. I know a lot of you out there can probably definitely sympathize with that depending on the day. And on those days, I try to not push it. Maybe I start out with a certain size until I get a cushion. I don't really push my size, so that also helps. I'm mitigating that risk right off the bat. And then once we get a cushion, we start pushing more size, maybe taking extra entries at certain spots, and then really getting into that flow state. So for me, I set a max loss. Still to this day, 6,000 roughly. I mean, it kind of is more of a mental max loss to be fair, but for sure, if I was down more than 10,000, I know that's an outlier day for me and I'm gonna stop, right? And my biggest day nowadays being this year, PR day in January was 52,000. It's like if I can keep my losing days, I haven't had a $10,000 losing day yet, you know, knock on whatever I can. Hopefully it doesn't happen soon, but you know, that's kind of what I like to do, keeping that. I was just showing the team some of my stats on Monday. My average winning day is about 2,500, average losing day is about $600. So
yeah,
that's the key, right? And then you've got about 850 winning days to like 200 losing days. So over my entire career, it's still, what, 75% of the time I'm winning. So that's huge.
Yeah. Dude, that is solid stats right there. Solid, absolutely impressive. So being that all these things are going well for you, what is one thing that you're currently working on right now to be better, to get to that next level?
Sure, a lot of the guys here I've been talking with, we've been playbooking and stuff. And for me personally, everybody has their own thing they're working on. I'm working on sizing on my A quality setup. So I still to this day, even though I have made as much money as I have, I still have that like fear of big losing trades and stuff to where I don't size as much as I know I can in the spots that are A quality for me, right? And at this point I have over 90,000 trades. So I definitely know the spots that I need to take, but it's still that mental thing. So, you know, half of the game is mental, half of the game is knowing your setups, your charts and stuff. And right now for me, it's the mental side of the game, and that's the scaling up and, you know, really the same kind of setups, but really scaling, letting them ride, kind of getting out of my scalping mindset at the right time though, right? Because what got me here was actively trading these stocks. So, you know, I got to make sure I don't, you know, still take away my printing and be able to still progress at the same time.
Okay. So you've been to a Warrior meetup, and now you've experienced a few meetups here with the Relentless trading team, the MMU team. Talk a little bit about the differences between the Warrior experience versus our experience here.
Yeah, it's two, you know, different worlds for sure. So a lot of these guys here around my age, similar strategies, very hungry, kind of just like in the stage of their game where they're really trying to get to that next level. So we're all in a certain way very, very like similar in that aspect, right? So with the Warrior trading trip, it was definitely like, it was great to meet everybody there, but it's more professional, right? You know, for here, we're more relaxed, and that's kind of how I like it personally. Just a little more like joking and stuff, not as much of just like straight business. But at the end of the day, we are definitely here for one purpose, and that is to be better and to create content and help the aspiring trader, because when I was starting my journey, there wasn't stuff out there like this, you know what I mean? Yeah. And definitely not from guys that were actually verified and things like that. So yeah, it's, you know, both are awesome, but that's why I've been on many Relentless trading trips. It's something that we do to get better. You know, with the Warrior trading trip, we're there to make content and for a week, but also Ross is a family man, you know? He's definitely more in his later stages of his career. And man, if I was his age and with the, you know, the profits that he has under his belt, I don't blame him one bit. So we're here basically with the sharks right now. He's the whale up top, and you know, I like being with the sharks, so it's good.
Yes, sir. Great whites looking to rise up.
Exactly.
So I got a couple of rapid fire questions for you. First, what's your favorite setup?
For me, you know, I'm a dip trader, everybody knows, so it's gonna be either, actually, he said one setup. So for me, it's gonna be a double bottom, but this is a double bottom setup where it will break down and give you a little wick, reclaim that low, and then start ripping. Usually that's around VWAP 2 is the perfect setup for that one. But yeah, that's my bread and butter, double bottoms, man. I love those, and they make me a lot of money every day.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite books, favorite trading related books?
I actually haven't read a full trading book yet. Now I do have one that I've been reading on some flights, and that is Mastering the Mental Game of Trading. So if you look that up, you'll find it.
Laptop or PC?
At home, for me, it's a PC, and that's just because it's always what I've used. But on trading trips and stuff, you know, laptop absolutely does the job. I mean, I think both are completely fine.
Okay. Last question is a yes or no question. Do you think you can take Ross in a boxing match?
I mean, I got years on him, you know what I mean? It's not a fair fight. So I'm gonna have to say yes, but if you gave him, give him his profits, basically, you know, people say, you know, stand on my money, now I'm 6'6". I think it'd be game over for me, so.
Perhaps, and you know, if he sees this, maybe you guys set something up in the future.
No.
All right, so the next question is a bit of a open-ended question here. So, where do you see yourself as a trader in the next 5 years? Where's Big Tim gonna be?
That's a great question. So we've been talking here a lot, and that's another beautiful part about this trip and like-minded individuals. You know, we can talk about where we want to be and kind of the path that we're going on. For me, like I was saying, it's sizing more, it's getting into more large cap kind of stuff. So a lot of you know the Tesla drop and kind of the mean reversion trade that some caught here over the last couple of days. Big trade. Now, was it tough to catch? 100%. I took some fat L's trying to catch it myself, but learning from that and growing, because as I get more capital, you know, for small caps, you can only buy so many shares, right? And it's nice to be a little more multifaceted. So I would say that's where I want to be, using my money just to, you know, be a bigger and bigger trader. Because right now I kind of already have my nest egg set. So trading large caps, swings, and really pushing the limit on small caps too. I don't think we hit the limit yet, right?
No, not even close. And that's good, because I know you and I, we've had some personal talks, and you have a goal, a very ambitious goal, to be a billionaire. So
I do actually, yeah. That's something that I do think is achievable, because we're so young and the trajectory that we're on now. I don't know, Warren Buffett didn't even make his first $1 million till he was close to 30, I think it was, or maybe over 30, I'm not sure. So I had to look at that.
All right, talk to the people a little bit about the difference between our hyper-scalping, micro-scalping style versus more of the warrior style.
So I would say pre-market strategy, a lot more warrior style. That's what Ross specializes in, pre-market, little bit of intraday, but mainly pre-market. You know, you got your breaking news setups, and kind of, it's just a different type of trading, right? Like for me, it's hard for me to keep my risk tight pre-market, and that's why I kind of always struggled a little bit. I never really found my strategy for pre-market, because you can't trade like any one person. You kind of have to take one thing from each, you know, of your mentors and put that to your own strategy. So when you get to the relentless trading, micro scalping, active trading, yeah, I mean, it's night and day. You know, you're trading potentially all day sometimes. I will trade if it's hot, like today, we traded for the majority of the day. We took a little bit of time off when this thing was kind of range bound midday, because I know personally I don't do too well during that time, but I love being able to trade all day when there is a mover, and being able to just stack those base hits all day long. And that's just kind of like part of the beauty of scalping in general, is that, you know, depending on how you scalp, you know, some guys bigger size than others, to where time of day matters a little more. For us, you know, we're still getting to the huge size. So on a big day, we can take a lot of trades throughout the entire day. And for me, I learned it from Crispy and these guys. I used to stop at a daily goal, like I said, but if there's still money to be made and there's still setups in play, why am I not trading, right? So
what's the most amount of trades you've ever took in one day, if you can remember off the top?
I mean, I used to trade last February, Holo BMR, probably 900 trades in a day.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people watching on are probably going to be like mind blown.
900.
As mentioned in the beginning, we're hyper scalping, you know, and you know, the warrior strategy, more so 5-10 good trades a day, whilst we're just, you know, gun slinging, hip firing from the hip almost, if you could kind of imagine like a Western style movie.
Yeah, right.
So yeah. All right, we're gonna head into the closing segments here. And so the first question is, you know, being that you gained all this experience, you are where you are now, you know, do you have any advice for struggling traders? Anybody watching on out there who's going through a tough time and, you know, maybe perhaps thinking about giving up?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I would have told myself as a struggling trader, because I was right there in a lot of your shoes at some point in my career, is first, the thing that helped me the most was recording my trades every single day. Record your screen and review, right? And when I say review, I don't mean review every single trade, but review your best trades and review the trades that you know. It's almost a personality thing too for some people. You kind of go towards where you feel comfortable, right? For me, it's the dip trades. For other people, it's the breakout trades and kind of the more risky stuff. But that's kind of what I was looking at. I was like, okay, how can I get better at these trades. And slowly but surely, with more screen time, and I always say kind of like we're like NFL players in a sense. What do they do after every game? They're watching film, right?
Yeah.
So we're watching film. And we play 5 games a week, right? So we have a lot more film to watch, to be honest, than they do when it comes to actually like playing the game. So there's a lot of stuff to review, and that's why I have a huge catalog of my, recordings and stuff, so I can go back and, okay, I remember when I was trading this, certain style and stuff. So definitely that, as well as start small. I see this too often, we do, unfortunately. And it's like I said, I started with, until you find consistency, and I traded in a simulator too, which I would almost recommend trading with 1 share in and out first, but a simulator forces you to not be able to lose a lot of money, right? Which can be good too. So start small and gain the consistency. 2-3 months minimum before you start sizing up. And then, okay, now I've weathered this storm. Maybe I've seen a different style of market, right? Maybe I've seen a market where breakouts don't work. This market now has been different as well, where micro pullbacks haven't been as good. So we're adapting, and as you get through that, then once you can size up, okay, I've experienced this and that, to where unfortunately sometimes people size up and the market just happens to shift. What you were doing the past 1 month that you were profitable, maybe a lot of those setups don't work as well anymore. So definitely sizing down. It's a marathon, not a sprint. That one is for sure key. And live to trade another day. Don't have those big blowout days. For me, I had one where I averaged down, and that was all I needed to never do it again. So
that's pretty good, man. Sometimes, it's hard for some people, but yeah, if you can, the faster you can make adjustments, ultimately the more refined you can be, and the quicker you can be consistent. So that's pretty good. So coming into the next question, if we had a time machine just fall from the sky, from the space, and you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would that be?
Man, I don't even know, to be honest. I would say never give up. For me, it took 3 years just to start making any money at all. And for some, even longer it can take. So thankfully I started when I was young. I don't know when some of you may be starting, but yeah, never give up. If you have a passion for it, even if you do give up, it's temporary, right?
Yeah.
You will come back to it. You will. So.
Yeah, man, it's pretty interesting because there's a lot of people who sometimes are so close to crossing the finish line, getting to the other side, but and there's a big meme of this guy digging for diamonds and then quits, whilst the other guy digs 2 more times and gets to the pot of gold. So definitely keep pushing forward. It's crazy. So Tim, for the final question, talk to the people about the importance of a chat room and how being a part of a network of traders, a good community, can take them to the next level and perhaps get them across that finish line.
Sure, yeah. For me, that was the difference. It really was. As soon as it opened my eyes, instead of just a couple $100 a day, which for me, with the kind of circle that I had, I didn't really have a lot of people to really look at, to compare myself to, which, it's good and bad to do that in general. But when I joined the Relentless trading community and found that network of like-minded individuals and traders that were hungry and a lot of traders that were way better than I am, seeing those P&Ls, I'm at work, like a lot of you probably are, every day looking at the Discord. Wow, oh my goodness, that's a huge P&L. Like, oh, what, that thing moved how much while I'm at work? All those things, I've been there, I really have. And seeing that though is beautiful because it opened my eyes. I'm like, okay, I can't just make 1,000. These guys are trading very similar to me, same stock, maybe a little different for their edge, but they're making $2,000 a day, $3,000, $10,000, sometimes 20, 30,000 or more. And that's where it's like, okay, this is actually doable. There are guys out there doing this, but before you can really see it and relate to some of these guys too, and then meeting them in person, seeing that they're, not average guys. I'm not saying they're normal, because we're all very high performing individuals, but they're good guys. Like, there's, super cool to hang around with, and people that you wouldn't even know that they had as much money as they did if you met them just on the street or whatever, right? Yeah. So it's just one of those things where I got lucky meeting the right people, getting that right network, and then all of us in general, they pushed me to be better, and now I'm pushing them to be better, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, what is it? There's a saying where it's like, like a rising tide lifts all boats, or something like that, right? And that's exactly what it is. We are that rising tide, and it's lifting all of us up to where we're potentially learning new things and then giving that to the rest of the community. So as we size up and see this, okay, I can do better at this, we're giving that to everybody else, and then they're giving us stuff as well. So it's so massive to not just be in your own bubble, because I didn't even know about Discord. I didn't even know about any other trading communities. I didn't know people were making as much money as they were until I saw it. And then it opened my mind and my perspective, and it was life-changing.
Yeah, guys, it's very important to be a part of a good circle. There's a good saying as well that goes, your net work is your net worth. And so you want to put yourself around people who are on the same page as you, looking to get to the same goal and destinations as you, and feed off of that energy. And so, we here have a pretty good community ourselves. You guys can definitely check out the links down below for the Relentless trading chat room, where it goes down, where you can not only engage with myself and Tim, but also other guys like Mighty, MX Trading, Save, Crispy, and a whole ton of other guys that are here every day. So, it's been a great conversation, Tim. Sadly, such a great episode. Sadly, it does have to come to an end. I know you guys want us to go another 2-3 hours, but both myself and Tim, we are busy men. We're working hard, and we're gonna get back to some studying here pretty soon. So we do have to wrap it up. I do want to say thank you for watching to the end. Be sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, check out all those links down below. And of course, if you do want to take it to the next level and start learning today, you can always check out MMU, Merciless Markets. That's the day trading program that I have that can take you from zero to advance, all right? That's where it goes down. Check out those links, and also be sure to double check to see if we have a nice coupon going there. That way, that can help you here with a bit of a discount at checkout. So, any last words to the people here, Tim?
Yeah, I would just say that I appreciate you all, everybody that's tuned in to any recaps I ever did and whatnot, and I'm wishing you all the best. We are going to become millionaires, all of us. I know that. Stay on the mission, process over profits, marathon, not a sprint, and maybe I'll see you on one of these team house trips before too long, because we have 2 traders that are just starting to size up that just turned that first corner, and we're gonna get them to turn that second corner. So it'll be cool for you all to watch that happen in real time in the Relentless Trading chat room. We'll see you there.
Well, there you have it. Stay safe, stay green. Hit that thumbs up, like, and subscribe.